Can you characterize everything that the Fed has done this past week as essentially flooding the system with money?
Yes, exactly.
And there's no end to your ability to do that?
There is no end to our ability to do that.
Is the Fed just going to print money?
That's literally what Congress has told us to do. That's the authority that they've given us, to print money and provide liquidity into the financial system. And that's how we do it. We create it electronically, and then we can also print it with the Treasury Department, print it so that you can get money out of your ATM. I heard from a bank in our region, a well-to-do customer came in and said, I want to withdraw $600,000 of cash. Now, we can supply all the cash that the banks need to meet their customers' concerns, but it just speaks to the fear and the uncertainty that is rippling through the economy.
To the person who is about to grab their car keys and go to the ATM and take out $3,000, you say what?
You don't need to. Your ATM is safe, your banks are safe, there's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the banking system.
Will the Federal Reserve ensure that banks have all the cash they need to satisfy whatever withdrawals may be coming?
Yes, this is the fundamental reason the Federal Reserve exists.
Trump's appointed a new Federal Reserve chair to replace Powell when his term ends in May. So I was reading about that before we started, and I was like, "Oh, run the."
I was gonna say that. I was like, you picked the perfect one to kind of jump in here talking about the Fed chair. So
yeah,
you would be surprised to figure out the early life check checks out correctly
for the new guy.
Yeah,
imagine that. Man, that's like libertarians and the really it's all the Jews people. They all talk about certain stuff, and it's like, yes, but also to get to that point, you have to check a lot of these boxes. You have to do a lot of these things. So it's like, oh yeah, they all came from this, and they had stuff with the WEF, and they did this and this. Yes, that's how you get. That's
power.
That's what the libertarians don't understand. And while they'll never achieve any level of actual realistic power, is because you do all those things to get to that point. Otherwise, you don't get to that point. The masses and people like that are few and far between. You don't get there without having those connections.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. And then when you do it, they're just going to try to out you because, hey, you're interrupting what we're trying to do here. You're being a nuisance. So we're going to try to make sure that your life is hell if you are going to be, a part of this mess.
That's I think I told y'all about it. I interviewed for a promotion, and I knew I wasn't going to get it, but it was exciting to try for it anyway. And of the candidates, I was probably the best, but I didn't get it, and that's fine. I actually don't dislike the new guy. From talking to him the few times that I have, he's actually a decent dude, if nothing else. And I can live with that. If my boss is just a good person, then I can be fine with whether or not they actually know what's going on. So he seems like a good guy. I can handle that. I had a buddy that was like, dude, you got to play the game. You got to go to all these training things and you got to do all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. He's like, and then you can do it. It's like, I don't want to. I don't want to play the game. I don't want to.
That's it. Well, and that's why a lot of people don't just move up. Because even my boss, he was telling us I used to have to do all these, these changes you guys make, doing all the coding stuff. And he's like, I got really tired of that, because that was always on me, whatever. He's like, I didn't want that on me. So I decided, to work my way up. And so he basically is telling us he played the game, to get to where he was.
Yeah. You either play the game and move yourself up so that you don't have to do dumb bullshit, or you get comfortable with doing dumb bullshit because you understand that the game is something you don't want to play. And that's kind of where I am. I enjoy my job. I don't want to play the game. God, I'm supposed to go to
because
I'm
like
trying- I'm
you know,
supposed
if
to
something
sort of-
if we make a mistake, it's kind of on his head. So it's like, you know, there's like two levels to it. You know, like if we screw up, it's on him because he's our manager. You know, like he's supposed to be making sure we don't screw up. And you know, if you know, if he's where we are, you know,
I got
it's still
picked for
on
the every year they do this like corporate leadership thing where they take different people in like my position and send them to all these meetings in like Louisville and Bardstown and like all these different places here. Interestingly enough, a lot of our facilities are right here in the Kentucky, Indiana area because you know we make a lot of bourbon and whiskey and stuff like that. So anyway, I got picked for this like corporate leadership thing this year, and God damn it, I don't want to do this. You have to like go to these meetings and go to Lexington and to Louisville and go to like be on these Zoom call things. And like I've just so far I've ignored all of the emails about it, and I'm trying to hope that they just forget that they included me in this and I can just be left alone because I don't want to do this shit. And if they ask me why I don't want to do this shit, I'm going to tell them because in 3 years, I'm fucking done. I'm going to retire in May of 2029 and I'm going to move home to the farm and fuck off with my brother for the rest of my life. And y'all can suck a dick. Like, this is short term for me. I want to and get paid six figures to punch on a computer and talk shit with my crew. And then I want to just leave. I don't want to do all this other bullshit.
Yeah, that's definitely what the sucky part is. Like.
When I told one of the like higher ups in the plant or in my department that, he's like, really? He's like, yeah. He said, so in May of 2029, you're for real retiring? I was like, yes, I'm done. Like, I'm here for another 3.5 years and then I'm fucking gone. He's like, oh wow, that's amazing. I was like, yes, it is.
Hey, especially you know, I know you said you've got an extra property there. Looks like Trump is definitely behind you here, helping your plan. He said he's gonna pump the housing market. So let's see.
I'm not trying to sell anything, but you know, you never know. I mean, if house prices go up enough, I might.
Existing housing, people that own their homes, we're going to keep them wealthy. We're going to keep those prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of their homes so that somebody that didn't work very hard can buy a home. We're going to make it easier to buy. We're going to get interest rates down. But I want to protect the people that for the first time in their lives feel good about themselves. They feel like they've, you know, that they're wealthy people. And I want them to understand it. You know, there's so much talk about, oh, we're going to drive housing prices down. I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up for people that own their homes. And they can.
It's so funny though. This is such a conflicting statement though of what he's saying, because he's like, yes, I want, you know, I want people to be able to have, because even if you do, like, if you make new houses, you know, it's necessarily going to drive the price of other houses down, right? So there's no way to like, hey, we're gonna build more homes, we're gonna make this make it where people can buy a home, and then also have the prices of houses just go up. There's no way. These two things, I mean, unless you're talking about like completely different types of markets. I mean, if you're making like, yeah, if you're making the slums, like you know, the Section 8 housing, then and then you have like an actual home. Yeah, those two are going to be a lot different in price of how much someone's going to be, you know, priced into that. But like, like, oh yeah, we're going to build another home right beside this one, and you know, this guy's home is going to be worth more. This guy's going to pay very little to get a home. That just doesn't, the math ain't mathing. Like, doesn't make sense.
So yeah, supply and demand doesn't quite work that way. And as somebody who owns a couple of different properties, I don't I wouldn't personally mind if housing prices come down. That's not like even for me, not looking to sell right away. Like if somebody's looking to sell right now, honestly, they probably want housing prices to come down too, because the market is priced out of what people can afford, and nobody's going to try to buy anything. Like when you like, do you want high prices on houses? Well, if you're the seller, logically you think yes, but then at the same time, it's like, well, if the housing prices are all so high that nobody's buying anything, then what? Then you're just stuck. That's like the piece of property that I want to buy for when to put our little tiny home and to live on whenever we move back. The lady's got it priced at $50,000. That property is worth 10 to 15 max, maybe. And I offered her 20 cash. I was like, I'll give you $20,000 cash money in your hand today. And she said, have you seen the markets? I know what I've got. I was like, yes, I've seen the markets. They're insanely inflated. And what you've got is a completely trash piece of property that has no value. Like, I'm offering you 20. My dad is considered one of the top 5 appraisers in the state of Kentucky. And he said that's $10,000 more than what I ought to offer you. Like, I'm doing you a favor. Nobody's going to buy this for $50,000. The fuck are you thinking? And you know what? A year from now, I'm going to offer her $20,000 cash money in her hand again and see what she says, because it's not going anywhere between now and then.
Yeah, I feel like people get stuck in that mindset, especially, and that's why. Honestly, I feel like that's a lot of why the market looks the way it looks, because I know what I've got kind of mentality. Like there's a lot of markets that are like that right now. It seems like because everything's kind of in a bubble, and
all of those, I know what I got. People, somebody needs to smack them over the back of the head and tell them you ain't got fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when they're trying to sell it though. If you're trying to sell this, and it's like triple what it was originally paid for. If especially if you see some depreciation in it, like, if I bought I had to buy a new car because mine crapped out on me recently. But if I sit there and I say that I'm gonna sell it to somebody for exactly what I paid for it after I've already driven it, another 5,000 miles or whatever, then I'm a dumbass. There's no way about it. Like,
that's one of the things whenever we were selling our old house, it was like, where do we want to price this? And, you look around and you look at comps of other houses that have been selling in the area, and you see what they're selling for. And then you look at what others that haven't sold are listed for. And then it's like, all right, well, like, if you go past this certain point, you're pricing yourself out of the market, because people are going to look at that price and they're going to be like, oh, no. They're just going to straight up say no. Like, they're not. If you're at a certain level, you can price yourself a little bit high, and they'll be like, oh, I can negotiate with that person. Like, maybe I can get them to come down 10,000 or whatever. It's like there's that Jew mentality kicks in, and like, oh, I can Jew them down. Yeah. We're like, we can negotiate here. But if it's at a certain point, it's just they see the number and they're just like, no, like, I can't afford that, and that's too much. Like, you're not going to get them to negotiate down into the range of what is actually reasonable. And that's why I offer that chick $20,000, because I like nobody else is going to offer you even this much for that. Like, you have yourself priced out of the market for this area. Nobody will ever offer you anything even remotely close to that. Like, so I'll give you a fair offer for what it's actually worth, and you can decide what you want to do with that. And like, yeah, the market is just insane. And the biggest problem is you got a bunch of these like realtors who just came into the market since COVID that all they know is this market, and they don't actually know what anything's fucking worth. And so they're like, oh yeah, I know what that's worth. Like, no, you don't. You don't know your ass from a hole in the ground as far as this is all concerned. All you know is you came in when the market was hot and you did really good, literally only because the market was hot. It's like that. It's like Johnny talks about like stock traders, in the last
value and stuff.
Yeah. He's like, these stock traders haven't known anything but ups. He's like, they can't lose. He's like, they don't actually know how to read a market and how to look at a board and how to understand what all the charts mean. They just know line go up, and so they just keep letting the line go up. They're like that's what this whole economy that we're currently living in has created, is a bunch of incredibly stupid people who think they're really, really smart just because they've had success, but not because they actually know anything. They've just had success out of sheer luck, really, of the time frame that they've been in those markets.
Well, and it's funny because there's like a split because there's the sort of millennial and Gen X that are kind of like profited off of this, because I'm gonna put my money in the S&P 500 and the S&P 500 just keeps going up. And then there's the sort of there's the boomer, obviously, that they've just like experienced like everything that I bought whenever I was a teenager has just went up in value and just keeps going up in value. But speaking of making a deal, I wonder what kind of deal Don Lemon is going to make. Because apparently he has been arrested.
So he's been
arrested by... Yeah, so
okay,
apparently...
if Don Lemon has been arrested, I withdraw all of my calls for Pam Bondi's head.
So apparently, Don Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents last night in Los Angeles, where he was covering the Grammy Awards.
Please let it be for crack.
That would be funny. That'd be funny. Get him on a drug charge. It's that is kind of the thing though too. There's always like a different charge than what what people actually did. Like they'll get somebody for tax evasion instead of like the actual like mobs. So they would get them for tax evasion rather than their actual criminal activity. So that would be funny. Like get him on a drug charge instead of and that would be even worse because instead of what he was doing, which is like protest, like doing a disrupting a public gathering, like then it would be like the typical black guy has crack.
Right. I kind of...
Oh, you cut out, Doug.
I was like, we're losing you, Doug. But we did get I hope it's for crack before you dropped it before. So that was perfect. Like that could not have come more perfect. Try again. Maybe we can hear you now.
I'm still in the sticks. So let's try. Yeah, no, I was asking if it was the church thing, if that's what the reason is.
Yeah, that's supposedly what it's for.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the charge for that?
It's the KKK law.
Trespassing or? Oh.
Yeah. So
nice. Got a black dude in the KKK law.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's better than crack.
Yeah. So apparently,
a gay black guy on the KKK law of all things.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, so the KKK law is basically like you can't go into somebody's public gathering and like threaten them or intimidate them, like it's non-violent. It's not necessarily a violent crime, but it's still, I think it's still a felony charge, right?
It is still a felony, yes.
Yeah, but it's like a non-violent felony. So,
huh.
But yeah,
the system works. Oh shit! Like nothing against gay people, but Don Lemon's such a fucking homo.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a gay person, you have to look at Don Lemon and be like, "Can we get better representation? Like, just please."
Shut up.
Look.
Speaking of, have you seen? There's been a bunch of like groups and like online community posts and stuff from the gays talking about how the Alphabet Brigade have ruined everything that they had spent like the last 30 years trying to build to be accepted by society, and then and then in the last like 5 years the TQIA whatever the fuck have come in and just taken a fucking sledgehammer to it and destroyed all of their like goodwill that they had built up over the last 30 years. Like, yeah, it's kind of fucking nuts, huh? Maybe gatekeeping is a good thing. Just saying.
Gatekeeping.
Speaking of gatekeeping, this just popped up in my feed, so I just figured it would be funny. It's Lindsey Graham, so obviously it's going to be funny.
So to any ally, Canada, Britain, Germany, France, if you try to help the ICC, we're going to sanction you.
Well, that means I want every ally. And you saw little Justin in Canada and his position. What should the penalty be?
We should crush your economy because we're next. Why can't so?
So apparently, if they try to arrest Netanyahu, in any other government like Canada, whatever, Britain, Germany, France, he says we're gonna sanction you and crush your economy. So yeah, speaking of gay, like there you go.
Yeah. I was gonna say Lindsey Graham, he's pretty homo too. With that
Did you see
that
somebody
soft Southern accent?
Somebody was in Congress, not a real journalist, but somebody that was doing the journalisming thing, and they had a camera and were like had maybe a fake microphone there, like, Lindsey, why don't you just admit you're gay and then everybody will leave you alone? And he just keeps walking.
That's funny.
Hell yeah.
It's funny for the internet, but also it doesn't really accomplish anything. But I get it. It's a bit.
It accomplishes about as much as most news.
Right?
It would be, it's actually better than most news, because most news is sitting there like stroking their cock to like whatever the person's saying.
Yeah, man. Hella gay. Sorry I was so late to join this morning. It's one of those mornings where just like, like I'm filling a chicken water and it just has to fall over and I have to drop everything that I'm doing. Like, everything's just annoying and fucking gay, Then I started getting work calls right as I'm trying to get out the door. Fucking one of them fucking days. Nothing's really wrong. I'm just grumpy about it all,
Yeah. It's like this isn't actually a bad day. It's just like I stubbed my toe this morning while getting up, and just everything sucks. Like,
yeah, just everything's a minor annoyance.
That was yesterday afternoon for me. Nadia called me. What was I doing? I was in the middle of actually doing something. And Nadia called me and said that the ceiling was leaking in Katie's bathroom. So I go over there, and sure enough, and I knew exactly what it was. Her bathroom is at a spot where the roof comes down like this, and then from the other side it comes across like this, and so the roofs meet. And then there's a big gutter there where stuff is supposed to drain off. Yeah, so with the sunshine yesterday, the snow on the roof started melting, but also it's still fucking 25 degrees. So it's like as it's melting with the sun shining on it, it's slowly refreezing too. So it's not really going anywhere. And the gutter was just a completely solid fucking basically tube of ice. So I had to climb up on the roof and break up and scrape all that ice off and knock the shit out of the gutter and get it to where everything would drain, and then it stopped leaking. But it's right, that junction is right over Katie's bathroom, and so the water was just seeping in through any like crevice it could find into the ceiling above her bathroom. Fucking annoying. And then I decided to get my truck out when I've gotten stuck in my yard every day this week. On my way home from work yesterday morning on the way home from work, I just like ramrodded it in there and slid it home, and I was like, fuck it, I'll figure it out later. So I got out.
Clip that.
I got out, yes. So after I got done fucking with the roof yesterday, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get my fucking truck out of the yard. And I dug and I put forward and back and forward and back and dug and forward and back, and it just kept going sideways. So initially I was facing towards the garage, and by the time I finally said fuck it, it had spun itself all the way back around where I was facing in the direction I wanted to be facing anyway. So then I turned off traction control. I put it in towing mode, and I just hammered down on the accelerator until it melted and burned everything out from underneath it, and I got out. My garage is completely covered in ice and snow and dirt and shit, and the
rooster tail it.
Yeah, tires were smoking. I didn't think tires would smoke burning out on ice, but here they were. It was, but I now can get in and out of my driveway.
Hell yeah, make it happen.
I'll pressure wash the garage in the spring. Stephanie got home and she looked at the yard, and I'm like just looking fucking haggard. I was wore out from climbing around on the roof and then digging and doing all that shit. And she's like, "Hi, dear." It's like, "I'm gonna take a shower and I'm gonna go to bed. Fuck all this. I'm done with today. It's been a yay. I hate snow."
We don't get any, so I mean,
yeah,
if you hate snow,
I need a flamethrower.
Just come down here, and you'll never have snow again. me and Dag never.
You can buy a flamethrower on Amazon these days, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they actually had one.
I got
they actually had one at my local gun shop, and I was seriously thinking about it. It's like $500. I'm like, oh.
$500. This one's $60. $50. Oh, it's on.
Oh,
it's locked. Lowest price in 30 days. We've got it. It's 50% off.
Well, they use them for wasps and shit, like exterminators, like getting rid of hornets' nests. They use them for like wasps and shit. So I think that's like the lowest tier practical application. Form is like pest control. I got a dip here coming up in like 30 seconds, but when I get out of this dip, I got a spider story. Speaking of flamethrowers.
Yeah, I probably could have used one of those flamethrowers on that freaking hornet nest that I had a couple years ago. That would have been nice instead of having to. But I will say I sold that thing for a little bit when it, good amount. That I got
Lowe's has one, and when I worked there, I kept trying to talk Stephanie into getting me one. I guess I could have just bought one myself, but she was not very approving of it. I was like, "Look, like we can get one of these fucking flamethrowers." I said, and then you just hook the propane bottle to it. I said, and then you go out here and like if we have, say, like now where we've got snow and ice, I can just walk out there with this fucking flamethrower and melt everything out from underneath. Melt the sidewalks off, melt the driveway off, and then we're good to go. We don't have to fight with all this bullshit. And he's like, "No, the last thing you need is a flamethrower. You already set the yard on fire once." I'm like, and
I've got one of those. It's a flame weeder. So what it's for is setting the lawn on fire.
I'm buying this fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's
the practical purpose.
It's 50% off. It's cool looking. Fuck it, I'm buying it.
Nice. I got so I had this golf cart that we've had for years. But I don't know, maybe a couple years ago the batteries finally took a shit, and so it stopped working. It's just been sitting. And golf cart batteries are expensive. So traditionally golf carts have, like if it's a 48 volt golf cart, it has 6 8-volt batteries wired in series to make 48 volts. And they're deep cycle batteries, and you got to add distilled water to them every couple of weeks. And it's all this maintenance bullshit, and it's a pain in the ass. And so I was looking at battery alternatives, or just getting a couple deep cycles or something to put in there, and Googled it or Amazoned it or whatever, and found out, oh no, everyone's using fucking lithium batteries for the golf carts now, And so I got a fucking lithium battery. It's 88 pounds, it's 48 volts, but it's still a fraction of the weight of the half a dozen deep cycles that I took out of there, so it's still lighter. Baller, Bluetooth to my phone, super cool. So I was taking the old batteries out, and I lift up this cover plate that went between 2 of the batteries, and y'all, I'm pretty sure I sent you guys a picture of it, but there was a spider in between these 2 batteries, and I don't know what it was. I think it might have been a huntsman spider. Just the fattest, juiciest thorax you've ever seen, dude. It was horrifying. And, you know, I've been known to shoot spiders, you know, or do whatever. I try my best if they're outdoors, so I'd have to kill them. But this thing's in between these batteries I'm trying to get out. Also, I don't want to shoot a fucking battery, you know, full of acid or flamethrower it or whatever. I ended up just bopping it with a stick and got it out of there. You know, no big event. But your story about the truck, Justin, was making me think of this. You know, the thing had been sitting for a while, so I got the new battery in, got it running, all good. But the front right wheel was seized, like the bearings were seized. The wheel didn't want to turn. And so I said, fuck it. It'll turn if I just drive it enough. You know what I mean? Like it's got to break loose if I just drive it. So I start driving this fucking golf cart across my property, and it's really sandy, and it's not real. The steering isn't really working right because one of the wheels isn't turning, so it's just sort of like a snowmobile almost, just sort of like sledding around on the front. And dude, that bitch did not break loose. It did not fucking break loose. I ended up getting stuck in the sand. Got that bitch buried to the frame, dude. The wheels just spinning. I'm like, fuck. So I had to go out the next fucking day and jack it up, and pull the hub off. On it, like I want to get all new bearings, and they sell like rebuild kits, all the bushings and shit. I might get new shocks. I might lift it an inch or two. I'll probably put knobby tires on it because it's got real slick, golf course friendly tires on it now, which I don't need that shit. To get me some off-road tires. I'm gonna pimp that bitch out. It's gonna be fun. It's one of the beauties of being a man. You get something and it moves. Like that's what it does. Is it moves and you get to pimp it out. It's a good time.
I had my mechanic buddy came over the other day, and he asked if I started working on my boat, talking about like you get something, you pimp it out. And like I started the demo. I've started tearing stuff out of it, but I haven't started like actually doing any work on it. I need to, now that I'm healthy. Like last year, I just didn't fucking feel like doing anything for the whole year. Now that I'm finally healthy, I think this year I might actually like for real start working on this boat. So what's probably going to end up happening is it's going to sit over here, and then I'm going to retire, move back home to the farm, and then me and my brother are going to end up fixing it, which is fine. I mean, that'd be a fun project for us, and we have more use for it down there anyway. Like we live right on the fucking Mississippi River down there. I don't really have anywhere to take it here. It's like the local lakes are more like giant ponds, and it's like I think it's a little big for those. Like those are mostly no wake zones, and I'm pretty sure this thing is just going to make a wake no matter where it goes. And so,
what kind of boat is it?
I'd have to get the information. It's a ski boat. My uncle. My uncle had it for years, and then he kept it. He kept it down at Kentucky Lake, and after like all of us grew up, he stopped using it, and then just stayed down there, docked for like 10 years, and finally, he was like, you know what? I don't ever use it. I'm not going to pay the dock fee anymore. So he went and picked it up and brought it back, and then just had it sitting out by his shop out in his backyard for another 10 years, maybe not quite that long. And he was like, I think I'm just gonna like sink it and get the insurance money or something. He's like, I don't ever use it. I'm not gonna fix it. He was like, I don't know what to do with it. I said, I'll take it. I was like, I'll take it. I'll fix it up. He's like, all right, I'll give it to you then. So speaking of, I got to talk to my aunt. I got to get her to transfer the title to me. She said after I picked it up, she's like, don't let me forget. I'll transfer the title over to you. And then we never did it. Like 2 years later, we still haven't done it. So I need to get that.
Have fun with that old motor. What is that? Is that an inboard motor since it's a ski boat?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any real personal experience with inboard motor type of boats. I've never had one. I usually had like John boats, for the rivers.
I had our high school shop teacher. He had his own shop where he worked on stuff outside of being the shop teacher. And so a bunch of us would go work on stuff at his shop, either in the evenings or on the weekends. And somehow me and a buddy of mine got wrangled into taking the inboard motor out of a ski boat and replacing it with a Corvette 350.
Oh, neat.
Which was fucking awesome after we got it done. But I was the skinniest one of the group, so they stuck me down in the fucking hole with the motor to do all the wiring.
Yep.
So that was I was the one who was like taking wires out and wiring it back up, and whoever took the wires out didn't label anything. So I'm in there like trying to trace wires and figure out what should go where. And oh my gosh, it took us 6 hours to get the fucking thing to run. But once we got it to run, it was good. And that thing sounded impressive. I don't know if it did shit for anything once he got it out on the water, but it sounded impressive sitting in a shop.
Yeah, my dad, when he was, before I was born and stuff, he worked for a small yacht company. They built yachts, like he engineered them, and it was pretty cool. I mean, they just fucking built these bitches like from scratch for saltwater sailboats. But he was the same thing. He was the skinny guy, so he'd have to get down there when they drop in. There was diesel motors in these. They drop in the diesel motors, and he'd have to be the guy in the hole to line it up and fix it up and everything. And he definitely had some horror stories from that, but there's this one that stands out. This was on him and my mom's boat. They used to sail to Mexico a lot, and he's down in the fucking hole working on their motor, doing whatever, adding oil. Just the old diesel motors are fucking gross, so he's covered in fucking oil and grease and shit, and just hot and sweaty and miserable down there working. And they usually had a cat that lived on board with them. He's down there working, and I guess somehow the litter box fell onto him while he's down there and like covered in grease and shit. So just like all the kitty litter and cat shit and stuff stuck to him, while he's down in this fucking engine bay. Like, oh my God, dude. That's so fucking gross, man. Fucking awful.
Oh,
put that litter box somewhere else.
When I worked on at train elevators, like out on the river, you'd have to check the wing tanks on the barges before we load them, make sure they didn't have any water in them. And so like you'd have a flashlight with you and you'd stick it down in the hole and look and see. And if there was water in it, then you had to actually go down in the hole and make sure that it wasn't leaking somewhere. Like you expect it to have maybe a little bit of water. So you go down in there and you check and look for leaks and stuff. And as long as there's none, you're good. But sometimes you'd have to go in one and it would have a fucking leak and you'd have to like shim it up. And they always send me down in the fucking hole to do all the shimming. It's like, gosh, I get it. I'm skinny. I can fit in the hole better than anybody else, but it gets old being the skinny guy that has to go in the hole every fucking time.
Oh yeah, I was always the attic guy when I was an electrician, because skinny, up in the attic, over the rafters, under the insulation you go, boy. Yep.
Yeah, I've been there as well. That was in high school. They did the carpentry. The carpentry did a house every year, and so I was in the carpentry class.
That's cool.
Yeah, like so there's a drafting and design class.
Fuck, I hate my high school that I went to. God damn, dude. We didn't have nothing cool like that, man. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. It's just the more I hear Corey's telling us, like, oh, yeah, they had shooting club at his school and shit. Fucking, you guys had, like, construction club and shit. And we had fucking jazz club.
Yeah, it was all at the vocational school. So we had auto shop, machine shop, and carpentry. And then and so every year the carpentry class built a house, and it was more or less a Habitat for Humanities type of a thing. It was like the house, they would build a house and then it would be donated to a needy family in the area. But we would go out, or the drafting and design class that was the big like year-end project, was create a house. Like you have these parameters that you have to keep it within, because that's what the carpentry class is going to build. But other than that, you get to design a house. And so at the end of the year, the carpentry class meets with the drafting and design class and looks at all of the different designs, and then they pick the one that's going to be made next year. So that's really cool, is like all of that is together. But then the class builds the house, and So I got to help. I got to help build my sophomore, junior, and senior year. I got to help build houses, and I was always the rafter guy. Like they always stick me up there to run electric lines and do everything else. And one year they forgot me. Like I had a bunch of stuff. I had a bunch of stuff, and I was working on it. And I was in like and it's not a big house, but I was on the back side of the house, and I was hooking everything up and putting everything where it needed to be. And it was getting close to the end of the class period. And so I like climb across the rafters and come back up to the main living room area to get back down, and my ladder's gone. Like I'm just sitting up here and like, y'all fucking left me. And we didn't have cell phones or anything. This was back in 2001. So I'm just like sitting on the rafters. Like, I hope somebody fucking comes back out here. I'm just gonna be stuck sitting here until the next class comes in. And
you got to tap on a pipe, when you're up there. So it sounds, like they tell you to do if you're stuck in rubble, you got to tap on a pipe so they can hear you.
The house is outside. Like you build it we build a foundation, and then you build the house on the foundation, and then it gets moved to it's a temporary foundation that you build so that, and then they move the house like it's going to be a mobile home more or less, or a portable,
like a modular thing.
Yeah. That's so we build the foundation, and then but everything like the actual like carpentry shop where all of the like class happens is like 50 yards over there. So everybody's gone inside. I'm like out here in this house all by my damn self. Luckily, one of the guys had left something out there, and he came back in the house, and I'm just sitting there. I was like, "Hey, somebody want to let me down?" He's like, "Oh shit."
You hang a little sign on the ladder next time. Do not take.
Nice.
I'm here.
See, I should have used the stilts. We had stilts, and I was pretty good on the stilts.
Dude, I remember as a kid being on the job with my dad. He was an electrician, and the painters were there, and there's the dudes on the stilts, and it was like, I'm to understand it's not that hard to like. It's easier than it looks to learn it, but to me, dude, it's like being in the I'm saying circus, like it doesn't, not because of the stilts, just as one of those skills that's like, like it's always so amazing that somebody can do it. It's like a superpower, like when somebody can keep thinking of circus things, but ride a unicycle or, play an instrument really well. It's like a fucking superpower. How the fuck did you get that good at that? And I was just so amazed by the dudes in the fucking stilts. Like, oh man, they must have gone away to stilt school to learn how to do that or some shit, And then as you realize they're house painters, and not in the mafia way, but they're house painters. So it's like, yeah, they're not that. There's nothing special about them, they're you'd think with all the alcohol that they drink daily, they wouldn't be able to do the stilts, but maybe that's what gives them the super balance.
Man, there was a thing. It was at the in the Macy's parade this year. They had people on stilts, like in costumes on stilts, and they were like, they were doing dances and shit. And there was one of them that was just standing there, like kind of swinging back and forth. I was like, that one is not comfortable on the stilts. Like they pulled that guy out from somewhere. They're like, "Hey, can you use stilts?" He's like, "Yes." They're like, "You're gonna go do this," while everybody else is like throwing their legs up and dancing and doing this stuff on the stilts. I'm like, that's fucking impressive, because I've been on stilts quite a bit, and like that's keeping your balance while doing that kind of stuff is crazy. Like I can walk, and I can even pick up the pace and walk briskly on stilts, but I'm definitely not like running or anything. There's a dude that does like the banana ball. Do you know what the banana ball is?
You don't mean the Savannah Bananas, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a guy.
Yeah, we played some of their shit on the show a while back.
Yeah, there's a guy that does that on stilts.
Goodness. I mean, I assume you spend enough time on them, it just becomes second nature, I mean.
Hang on, let me find it.
Yeah, the Savannah Bananas, they're like way cool, but it's almost gay, I'd go see them. If I had a young child I had to take out and entertain for a day,
Well, Sean,
not a weird, creepy way.
I've seen like the clips and stuff that we've played on the show, but I didn't realize it was like a real league, like a traveling league thing. Sean was out here with me one night. He was like, "Have you ever watched any of this?" I was like, "No." He's like, "There's a game on right now." So we put it on, and we picked it up like halfway through the game, and we watched like the last 4 or 5 innings. It's pretty cool. It's entertaining. It's kind of goofy and weird. Some of the things they like, the gimmicky stuff they do. Apparently, this thing is like become wildly popular. Like everywhere that they play is sold out for like the next 2 years. Like if you want to get tickets to go to a game, you have to buy like way out in advance. It's fucking nuts. Here's the dude that does it on stilts.
Oh, this is so goofy. That's so goofy.
And Germ emotes going crazy in the chat. Line drive to center. What a barrel from Stilts. Does he dare go for 2 bases? No. He'll be content with a rocket of a single.
I mean, I'm impressed that he's actually able to hit it. There.
That was the farthest I've ever seen him hit a baseball.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. He half-ass ran down the first base line on those things. That's
and it's like so okay. So let me ask you: so when they're like their opposing team, is that whoever like the home team is of that town, or is it like the Harlem Globetrotters versus the Generals?
Basically, yeah. I think they have like.
Why would you bet against the Harlem Globetrotters? I thought the Generals were due. There's a King of the Hill where there's like.
I love that bit. Yeah.
There's like a guy who like it's kind of like the Savannah Bananas, but it's one dude, and he goes around and he always beats whatever home team, and like Hank and them, they get to be on like the home team, or they're playing their softball team or something, and then he doesn't realize until this goes, it's like no, the other teams like they play along and they sort of let him win every game, and do all this stupid showy shit, and they're like, no, we're not gonna let him win. Like that's not sportsmanlike, So they're trying to beat him, and it's like a whole thing. But yeah, kind of similar to that. Once the curtains lifted, so there's this like mentalist guy who does a lot of stuff in sports. You guys might have seen him. Oz the Mentalist, or O's the Mentalist, or whatever. And some of that mentalist shit's always like really impressed me. And I know it's like magic tricks, you know what I mean? But it's like, damn, how the fuck does he do that? And he's been going around and doing all like the podcasts lately because he has a book out, and so he's selling the book. And the book, he kind of pitches the book. It's kind of like, yeah, I'll teach you how to do some of this shit in the book. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I got the book and I read it or listened to it, and not like doesn't tell you how to do anything. You know what I mean? Kind of feel like a rug pull on the book sale. It was still a good book, it was a lot of him and how he got to where he is, and kind of motivational shit and dealing with anxiety and stuff. And it was still interesting, but I was like, fuck, that's not really what I wanted. The one thing he does teach you how to do is actually say the alphabet backwards, which is kind of a neat method. But I guess there's some other dude. I just heard this on a podcast the other day. There's some other dude going on a podcast tour right now who hates him and is telling everybody how he does his mentalist shit, which is hilarious to me when there's feuds like that. But it's like, oh, like I kind of want to know, but I kind of don't want to know, And anyhow, I guess one of the things what he does is like, before he goes on your show and he does a mentalist trick on you, he'll say, okay, so you can't change. He's like, he has them write it down on a piece of paper before the show, and then makes them keep the piece of paper in case they try to change their answer or something. You know what I mean? I guess he can call them on it. But that's the fucking trick, is he hands them a notepad and has them write it down. And then, you go backstage and, you give them the sheet of paper, but the paper underneath has the tracing of the answer on it. You scrape like the thing, you scrape a pencil on it to reveal the answer. And I'm like, fuck, that's like the gayest fucking trick. Like that's how he fucking does it. I'm like, I wanted something better, or I wanted to think he was like, like a master manipulation, con artist type of mentality where he, just
like,
that good with people.
Like, the guys who like something, I don't know, like switching up a paper, and it's like, oh, here's is this your paper kind of thing, like, and like figured out how to manipulate the papers in a way, I don't know, something like that, where like, hey, this is actually your answer, but it's because I was able to essentially like do some sleight of hand trick, that's cool.
Well, some of them I genuinely don't understand. Okay, so like I saw one clip of him, and he does a lot of like team building shit for like NFL teams and shit. And so he's got one, and like, okay, he with his back to the crowd throws a football into the crowd of all like the players on a team, right? And one of them catches it. Obviously, it's random. His back was to the crowd, whatever. And he says, "Throw it to somebody," And he writes down a name on his big thing. And the player throws the ball to another teammate, and boom, that was the guy I knew you were going to throw it to. He shows the name. And he gets to the point where he's like, oh, fakes at so-and-so, and then throws at so-and-so kind of thing. And, like, I don't think the players are in on it, right? Because that's, like, the point. They're, like, the person who's supposed to be getting this experience. But, like, that shit's impressive. I don't know how the fuck you might do that, But, yeah, dude, it's, I like magic and shit, and I'm not the type of person who, like, doesn't have fun with it and has to know how they do it or has to try to make the magician fail. But it's like, I just, like, I kind of in my head try to figure out how they do it, but I don't need to know how they do it. But that's sort of what impresses me is that, fuck, I can't figure out how they do that. Have you guys ever watched the Penn and Teller show, Fool Us, F-U? Fool Us? You guys familiar?
No.
Basically, Penn and Teller. You guys know Penn and Teller, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you have to know them. Basically, they have magicians come on their show and do a trick, and then they try to figure out how they do it. And if they can figure out how they do the trick, they win. And if they can't figure out how they do the trick, the magician wins. And it's actually pretty cool. Because like sometimes they get it. Yeah, sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. But then it's almost to get in between for my juxtaposition of wanting to know but not wanting to know, because if they do a good enough job, you don't know. If Penn and Teller can't figure it out, then that's pretty fucking good. And hey, man, the mystery has to stay. But if they can figure it out, if they're not good enough to do it to where they can't figure it out, then hey, man, good, your secret gets exposed. So it's kind of a sink or swim kind of thing.
Sorry, I've gotten like way too deep into the banana ball thing. There's
you got another good one?
There's six. They have 6 teams now. They travel all over the place and do they have places where they do the games for some of the teams, but also they there's a team out of Indianapolis, the Savannah Bananas. There's a team out of Texas. Loco Beach Coconuts. That one's another Florida team. Or that's a Florida team. So they travel all over the place and do these games, but the way they do the tickets is it's like a lottery thing. Like that way people can't just buy up all the tickets, and that way like everybody kind of has an opportunity. So
right.
I'm putting in for the Memphis. There's the Indianapolis team is playing one of the other teams in Memphis in May or in March. So I'm putting in for that. See if I can get tickets to go watch these. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
We've got a minor league team here that's pretty good. Or I don't know if they're good like on state like rankings or whatever, but I've been to a couple of their games and they're fun, dude. It's like so much less effort than like a major league thing. Going to the major league stadium and security and the blah 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 and the $15 hot dogs and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's just so much easier to go, and it's like you're sitting right there. Like every seat's a front row seat, basically. They're a lot of fun. I might try to go this year.
Well, and they to me the minor league too. I like them because they're like they'll throw the ball out after every inning or whatever to kids and stuff like that, or just to people. I got one thrown to me at one of the minor league games in Florida. There was is actually one of the outfielders. I think he got called up later on, but they were I forget which team it was that I saw down there, but
we get to go to a lot of the spring training games down here too, because all the teams come down here to train. So like I've seen like the Yankees play and shit down here. Just then it's not a big deal to go either because they're not packed. So they're kind of cool. The Detroit Tigers are in Lakeland. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Lakeland Tigers. That's the one that I went to.
Oh yeah, the Flying Tigers. Yeah, that's the ones I see. Yeah, Lakeland Flying Tigers. Yeah, because the Detroit Tigers come to Lakeland for training.
Louisville has a minor league team, the River Bats, and my uncle was one of the donors who helped build the stadium that they've got downtown, and so he had a box and like one of those nice like donor boxes, and so I would go up in the summer and he'd be like, "Hey, you want to go to a ball game?" Like, yeah, like he didn't have to buy tickets; he just shows up and goes to his box. So we'd go to games and like the box is fully stocked with everything you could possibly want, and it's got the little balcony area where you can go out and sit and watch the game, or you can stay in the box and watch TV and like feel special. And it was really cool. He'd take me to a couple games. Like I'd go up and stay during the summer and just hang out with my aunt and uncles and stuff. And he would call a couple times while I was there. Hey, you want to go to a game? And just for no more, like he didn't watch the games. He'd sit in the box and watch TV or whatever. But like we'd go to the game and hang out, and it was fun.
See, but I feel like a box defeats the purpose of like a baseball game. To me, the experience of being in a baseball, like, watching a baseball game is a lot different.
Well, all I know is when I was in high school and college, whoever had the box next to Uncle Joe's box had a hot fucking daughter that would be out there like she would be out on the little balcony area watching the game, and I'd spend most of my time out there just watching her. Like
watching the game. Yeah, I agree with you, Trey, but I will say this. If you get the opportunity, it's one of those things like that's also a unique experience. I'd take it at least once. It wasn't a box, but I had a friend whose family was kind of wealthy, and they had some tickets to Tampa Bay Lightning, the hockey team.
Sound far away, Doug. Your mic switched.
Something happened. It's like you're in a tunnel.
Your mic switched or something. Like I think off of your headphones or something. Whatever. But yeah, I agree. I agree though, Dag. Like if I got the chance to sit in a box, especially like a football game would be super awesome to be in a box. Like I got to go when I got to tour the University of Alabama whenever I was like about to attend college. They had like a thing where you could kind of tour it or whatever, and they took us up into the box at the football stadium. And dude, that would be a sick experience of like they had all the kind of amenities and everything, like where you can kind of get to it and just sit there and chill and watch the game. That would be cool. Now for a baseball game, yeah, maybe I'll try the experience once, but like you said, I still think that like being down in the seats is kind of where for me a baseball game.
I got to go to a Pistons game, and it was in the box. Like a buddy of ours worked for, I can't remember what the name of the company is now. It's been bought 2 or 3 times since we were in high school, or since I was in high school. But he worked for that company. He was one of the engineers that designed the Hummer H2s. Had those like the rear window on them. He designed the windows for those. So anyway, he got tickets to that company's box at a Pistons game. And so we went to a Pistons game. I don't remember anything about the game. They were like, all of the old dudes in the box were sneaking all of us kids beers the whole time. They're like, here. Like, we were so fucking drunk. Oh my God. I don't remember the game at all. I just know that in the box with all these old dudes, like it was fucking hilarious and fun as fuck. I don't even remember who they played. I got a Ben Wallace bobblehead somewhere from. Actually, I think it's still at mom. I think the Ben Wallace bobblehead is still at mom and dad's house. But I got a Ben Wallace bobblehead, and there were 3 of us we were seniors, and oh my gosh, we were drunk as shit. There's no way nobody knew. There's no way security didn't know what was going on because we're just like falling all over each other. It was wild and fun. But I don't like. I wasn't there for the game. Like we weren't there for the game. We were there for the box experience for that one. But like I've gone to Memphis games, and before the Grizzlies were good, you could get Memphis tickets super cheap. And then I was there the first time when they clinched their first playoff berth in like forever, like back in 2014 or whatever it was. Maybe it was a little, no, maybe it was before that, 2010 or 11. Anyway, yeah. When they like clinched their first playoff berth in like the history of being in Memphis. And that was fucking cool. And we always could get pretty good seats. And it was like, I liked that. But yeah, like the baseball game being in the box, that was a whole different experience. But I was going with my uncle. I wasn't as interested in the games as I was there to hang out with my uncle and be at a game, not actually go to a game.
Yeah.
We've lost Dag's audios for some reason. I can't hear you.
I know. I need your headphones. You can't hear me say that anyhow.
Yeah, I think his headphones died, and we're getting the like car microphone or something, or whatever it is, or the basic.
Oh
microphone.
yeah, do you have like a Bluetooth in the car that it might connect to? Nah, you usually drive holders. That's weird. Oh well, we're over time anyway. Work on getting some headphones that aren't retarded for Monday.